Sergeant Preston of the Northwest Mounted Police with Yukon King, swiftest and strongest lead dog breaking the trail in the relentless pursuit of lawbreakers in the wild days of the Yukon. Back to the days of the gold rush as Sergeant Preston with his wonder dog Yukon King meets the challenge of the Yukon.
This is the Yukon, the territory patrolled by Sergeant Preston, a rugged and fiercely beautiful land of golden promise, filled with the good and the bad, the industrious and the lazy. A long, hard winter had driven miners in from unworkable claims into the town of Gold Flats to waste time in idleness. As the days dragged on and pokes grew leaner, tempers became shorter and tension mounted in the community. Cooler heads knew by past experience it would take little provocation to blow the town wide open.
Morning, Ransom.
Near afternoon and morning, Mr. Brand. The usual?
Oh, thanks. A little early for me.
Hey, you boys looking for revenge and another little game?
Not me, Braddock. I make my living playing cards. I'm too smart to buck a lucky streak. No, thanks. I'll save the rest of my bankroll for a sucker.
You nicked Brand and me last night, but you really cleaned Donovan. He's hunting you with blood in his eye.
He could have quit any time. Nobody was stopping the crazy sourdough. That's his tough luck.
You're not going to take it lying down, Braddock.
Well, I don't think it'd be too healthy for Mr. Donovan to try anything.
Now, don't go stirring up trouble, Braddock.
Of course, I know the game was on the level. But he says it wasn't. Wants his money back.
Just let that big galoot strike something.
Well, that's crazy talk. You know how the town is now. Stay out of Donovan's way until Sergeant Preston gets here. He's due here soon. Let him take care of Donovan.
I'll handle my own quarrel.
That suits me, you dirty cheat.
You talk pretty big, Donovan. I doubt that you can back it up.
You're gonna find out right now. You stole $2,000 from me at poker last night. Now I'll have it back, or I'll take it out of your hide.
You just try and I'll knock your thick head off.
Boys, now hold on, both of you. If you have to fight, get outside.
Get away! I want to see how far this ape will carry his bluff.
Commotion is.
All right, break it up. On your feet, both of you.
You men ought to be ashamed of yourselves, acting like a couple of drunken brawlers.
What do you mean? I haven't had anything to drink stronger than coffee.
Nevertheless, see that it doesn't happen again. Everybody line up in front of this bar facing me till I find out what's going on. All right, Ransom, what happened here?
I try to run a peaceful place here, Sergeant, but these two were spoiling for a fight, and they picked my place to do it. This fight started over a poker game.
I see.
It's been a tough winter, Sergeant. We haven't been able to work our claims. We've been cooped up here in town, getting on each other's nerves. There's nothing to do but drink and play poker.
Too bad we can't outlaw poker.
Speaking as a professional, Sergeant, take away poker and the men will substitute some other form of gambling.
Then there's only one solution. That's to impound everybody's gold and ransom safe until the spring break-up. What good'll that do? Plenty. It'll cause no harm, and it may prevent bloodshed.
Might be right, Sergeant. Could be my blood.
And it's worth a try for a start. All right? I want you men to turn in your gold. I'll give each one of you a receipt. Ransom, get your scales and give me a hand. I don't know why I'm hanging around. Unless you plan to arrest me. We'll discuss that later. Meantime, try to stay out of trouble, will you?
Ha! Fat chance. What kind of trouble can I get into with no money?
Sounds like a bunch of kids.
Could be Father Michel's little Indians. You men hang on to your gold while I take a look outside.
Look, my children, our prayers have been answered. It is the good Sergeant Preston and King.
Preston! King!
What are you doing here with your little Indians, Father? From the looks of things, something disastrous must have happened.
Last night at the mission, a spark from the overheated stove caught the kindling wood and poof! Before you could say an Ave Maria, our supplies, our clothes, even the roof over our heads, all is lost. Now we must trust the good Lord to provide. And we are unafraid, my children?
Yes, Michel. Especially now since we have Sergeant Preston and King.
Now, you children wait right here and be very quiet, will you? While the good Father and I go inside and see what can be done.
Yes.
You may rest upon the benches here. Napoleon, you will be in charge.
Donovan, see if the hotel will supply some blankets for these children.
Sure.
Come on, King. Come, Father.
All right. Come.
Excuse us, please. All right, Ransom. Start weighing the men's gold and give each one a receipt. I'll be close by in case there's any trouble.
I'll let every man check the scales.
As soon as you're finished, I'd like a word with you men. Step over here, Father. Father, an idea has just occurred to me that may help solve some of our problems here. The situation here in Gold Flat isn't good. The men are unable to work their minds, and idleness, long idleness, breeds trouble. As you can see, I've gone to the extreme of impounding their gold just to curb their constant fighting. Father, this town needs you.
I am beginning to understand.
Oh, Sergeant. It's all locked and safe, and it's a good strong one.
Very well. Since your bedroom is close by, I'll depend on you to guard it, night and day.
You said you wanted to talk to us, Sergeant. What about?
Children. Children who need help. So you see, men, Father Michel and his young charges need your help. Now, first, temporarily, Ransom, I'd like to have you put the children up here at the hotel.
You mean all of them? Now, that's a question. What did you think he meant?
Save us money you're worried about. We'll all chip in, won't we, boys?
Oh, very kind. Well, that lets me out. I'm broke.
Don't worry, Donovan. I'm coming to your contribution right now. Men, I propose that all of you chip in and help convert your abandoned town hall into a new mission for Father Michel and his young Indians. Now, how about it?
Well, what's our answer, you loafers?
Good. I knew you were going to do that.
We shall all remember every one of you in our prayers. Bless you.
Thanks, Ben.
Just a minute, Ransom. I want to talk to you privately.
Now, if you think you're going to sweet-talk me into giving you back your poke...
Not exactly. The idea that I have in mind is more profitable for you.
Children, as I promised you last fall, I'd have a prize for the most outstanding student of the year.
Oh, that would be Napoleon.
I was bringing it to the mission, Napoleon, but... Well, come here, King. Here, boy. Take this to Napoleon.
snowshoes. Thank you.
Every able-bodied citizen and miner in Gold Flats, at Preston's suggestion, and under the equal responsibility of Donovan and Braddock, lent a helping hand. Progress on the new mission for Father Michel and his 10 little Indians was rapid. The pent-up energy of the men was drained off in honest, hard work. Though Sergeant Preston blessed the timely arrival of Father Michel and his charges, he was experienced enough to realize that even good works cannot change men's character overnight. With his superior's agreement, he headed his team once more up the trail toward Gold Flats, with the hope that the 4-day round trip had not been too long.
Through Christ our Lord. Amen. You may eat now, my children.
Any word of Preston?
Nothing. But don't count on him not coming back. I've better news, though. Donovan and Braddock are at it again.
Père Michel,
Yes?
will you tell me something?
Oh, gladly, if I can.
Then tell me why I cannot find love for Mr. Brand when the good Lord says we must love everyone.
The Lord has offered us faith, hope, and charity, my son. Search your heart. Only there will you find your answer.
Hello, King.
What's the matter with you, old boy? If we don't make better time on this, we'll never get to Gold Flats tonight. Oh, so that's it. Ice cuts, huh? Well, this isn't a bad spot. We'll camp here for tonight. Tomorrow, with your muclucks on, we'll have an easier time of it.
The bar's crummy, men. We better take a table.
Mighty big talk, coming from someone who can't take his poker losses like a man.
How long have you been serving handouts to shirkers, Ransom?
Now, everybody's welcome in my cafe, Braddock, as long as they behave themselves. Man, I'll take your orders right away.
Hey, since you're so good at taking orders, maybe I'll give you one.
Why, sure, Braddock. What will it be?
Well, why don't you throw that bum out of here?
You've been asking for this, Braddock. Now you're going to get it.
I've just had a look at your progress on the new mission, and I'm proud to... What's the matter? What is going on here?
Nothing, Father. Nothing at all. My men and I were just leaving. It's been a hard day.
We were just having a little fun, Father. I guess we'll be leaving, too.
You came in just in time. Maybe you should have said something.
When you get to my age, you learn there are times when the unspoken word is the most powerful. Good night, Ransom. I regret I ran the men out.
Oh, I was going to close up anyway, Father. Good night.
Napoleon! You should have been asleep long ago.
I could not, Father Michael, for worry over the good Sergeant Preston and King. Why have they not come?
Oh, they must have been delayed in Dawson. Oh, I'm sure they are all right. You have said your prayers?
Yes, and I asked a blessing for the good Sergeant and King. Was that right to do?
Oh, of course, my son. All God's creatures need his blessing. Now, you must go to sleep.
the matter, old fellow? Having a nightmare? Come on, let's go back to sleep, huh? We want to be in Gold Flats soon after daylight. Come on, King. Back to sleep.
Those brats, they're not only filling my rooms rent-free, they're keeping away my paying customers.
Forget about the kids. We're carrying out my plan tonight.
Well, why so soon? The more I think of it, the less I like it.
You've got no choice, Ransom. Braddock's folks got a lot of gold dusting, and I want it. And I want it without being suspected of robbery. Donovan and Braddock had that brush tonight. There's bad blood between them again. That's what we've been waiting for.
Why should I take all the risk?
The way I planned it, you're taking no risk. Tomorrow morning, you're going to be found, bound and gagged in front of the open safe. And only Braddock's poke will be missing. You're not going to be able to identify your attacker, except that he's the same size as Donovan, for example. With that description, and the fact that everybody knows Donovan's broke, and he's accused Braddock of cheating him at cards, it'll put the blame right on Donovan.
So when Braddock finds out he's the only victim, he'll accuse Donovan, and that'll start them fighting again.
That's right. And this time when they fight, one of them will most certainly be killed. If Donovan dies, he won't be able to defend himself against the robbery charge. If Braddock loses, the murder will be more important to the Mountie. He'll concentrate on that.
Sounds almost too simple.
The simpler the plan, the more chance it has for success. I'll see you at daylight with a rope and gag.
Sergeant, am I glad to see you. Terrible things have happened.
What's the trouble, Father?
It's Braddock. He has Donovan trapped in the mission and swears to kill him for stealing his gold.
How'd this happen?
Only a few minutes ago, Ransom was discovered bound and gagged beside his safe, and the safe robbed. But only Braddock's gold is missing. At once, Braddock accuses Donovan of the theft.
Donovan, break it up! Get him, King! Braddock! Now get over there. Let him up, King. Get on your feet, Donovan. Come on. Braddock and Donovan, I'm arresting you in the name of the Crown for disturbing the peace and fighting. It's high time you two were taught some respect for the law.
He called me a thief.
You robbed me last night.
You're lying. I wasn't anywhere near Ransom safe, and I can prove it.
You're the one who's lying. Who else would steal just my poke and leave all the others in the safe?
Why, you...
No, wait a minute. Donovan, you said you could prove you were nowhere near the safe last night. How?
I can prove it because I had an all-night poker session in my cabin last night, and I didn't leave the game. The men I played with will alibi me.
Come on, I want to hear Ransom's story of what happened. Let's go.
It happened just like I said, Sergeant. As I was closing up last night, I was bending down over the safe, pulling away the day's receipts, when suddenly I felt an arm around my throat, cutting off my wind.
Let me have a look at your throat, Ransom.
Oh, there's no marks on it. I looked myself.
How could you have been throttled almost senseless and not have any marks in your throat?
Oh, I wasn't really senseless. I was sort of helpless while he tied me hand and foot.
Well, then you must have seen the thief. He'd have had to step over you to get to the safe.
Oh, no, I didn't see him. He had my face down on the floor, and I couldn't get my head up. What is this? You'd think I was a robber.
Well, aren't you, Ransom? When you were found, you told everyone the thief looked like Donovan. Yet, just now, you say you didn't see him, that he tied you with your face to the floor. Ransom, is any part of your story true? Well, we're waiting for your answer.
All right, I did help steal the gold. But I'm not taking all the blame. Brad was in on it, too.
He tied me up to make it look like Donovan did it.
Why, you
Hold
dirty...
it, Braddock. Turn around. Put your hands behind you.
I have just discovered that little Napoleon has been missing since last night. Ransom, in playing your part in this wicked scheme, you lay here all night, fully conscious. You have admitted this. Therefore, Ransom, you were here when Napoleon came downstairs.
No, I lied about being here all night. The boy must have watched from the head of the stairs while we did the job. When Bran left, the Indian kid must have followed him. But if Bran caught the boy, I'm not to blame for what happens.
Napoleon was worried about you last night, Sergeant. He was probably going out to look for you.
And there's no time to lose. King and I'll go after Brandon Napoleon. Father, I'll leave the prisoner in your charge. His gun is behind the counter. You know how to use it?
I was a guardsman before I took the vows.
That's good enough for me. Come on, King. We're going after a prisoner and a brave little boy. What's the trouble, King? We'll find Napoleon first. Napoleon, what are you doing here?
I'm doing my duty, Sergeant. I followed the criminal. It is Mr. Brand who robbed the safe. From the top of the stairs. I saw it.
Napoleon, you've done your duty well. But now you'll best help me by hiding here till I make the arrest. Will you?
Yes, sir.
Come on, King. King, run around and guard the back door.
Brand, this is Sergeant Preston. Come out with your hands high. All right, Brand. I'm going in after you. Drop that gun, Brand. On your feet.
I arrest you in the name of the Crown for robbery and conspiracy.
Now that we caught him, Sergeant, I'm cold and sleepy and very hungry.
Napoleon, as soon as we get this prisoner to town, I'll see that you get a nice warm breakfast and a warm bed. Let's go, Brand.
God save the Queen. And now, children, we shall hear from the good Sergeant Preston.
Napoleon, for your courage and devotion to the Northwest Mounted Police, I've been requested to present you with these honorary sergeant stripes.
What is it, Napoleon?
May I say something?
Oh, but of course.
Thank you, Sergeant. You make me very happy. But there's just one thing.
Well, what's that, Napoleon?
King here. He was the bravest of all. Couldn't you make him a sergeant, too?
Well, I'm sure your recommendation will be all that's needed. Sergeant King, this case is closed.